Our second scene setter comes from the Flight Safety Foundation, and this is going to be an informed overview of the regional risk picture and a critical argument about what it really means to measure safety performance. I welcome the Director of Safety at the Flight Safety Foundation, Mr. Gerardo Cueto, to come and take us through that setting of the scene presentation. A round of applause.
Good morning, everybody. You've been sitting for a while. Why don't you stand and stretch a little bit? Let's do that. It's good for us. Circulation, you feel better. I'm not going to bore you. Take your seats. Thank you. And first of all, I want to thank AFRA, South Africa, and every African participant in this conference and the Flight Safety Foundation, of course, for giving me the opportunity to work with you again. I'm about to present the risk picture, which is what we should work with in safety. And it's only bad news. It's accident data. However, I came back to Africa after an extended absence. I used to come to Africa from 2008 to 2016. And last week, when I prepared this presentation, I went, wow, Africa has changed a lot for the better. So even though we are going to look at bad news, I'll just throw one number. In 2008, there was one African state that suffered more than 30% of the world fatalities. That doesn't happen anymore. So, and then Madame Popkosa mentioned 2 African states that got better ICAO ranking than the United States. So that's something to be really proud of. With that in mind, thanks for having me back. Let's look at the bad news. I based it on the presentation you saw last year, because I think continuity is a good thing. And what I was into is the wealth of information that's in the Flight Safety Foundation database and others, because it's not the only one. You know, Gausu mentioned ICAO, the regional group. So I looked at all the reports to see if there were some gaps in information that we could discuss today. So up there, light blue, dark blue, and darker blue, you have the number of accidents, fatalities, and ground fatalities in the last 10-year period. This is a dashboard that is available to the public. So if you're a member of the foundation, it's a live source of information. You can click on different buttons and get drill downs on what those charts represent. I know you're probably trying to read everything here, but I pulled the critical charts like this one, which is accident categories. So you have runway excursion at the top, and then unknown. How come we had an accident, lost an airplane, killed people, and we don't know? We'll see the answer to that. Then system component failures, non-power plant and power plant, followed by different categories. But those top 4 bars. And then the second and the third one caught my attention. I mean, the third and fourth. That's the airplane breaking and causing an accident. So I thought, should we think about better maintenance? And I decided to drill down using ICAO reports, IATA reports, and accident summaries. And the system component failure power plant answer is down there in birds. If you think all the engines failed because they ingested a bird, no, it was a small number. The others just broke in service. out of non-power plant items, the number one, which is a big bar, is landing gear. And then I drilled down a little bit more. What's the biggest bar on top? Runway excursions. So there's correlation between runway excursions and landing gears breaking. And I saw that Gausu presented, and runway excursions was focused on last year's report, and it remained at the top for this year. And we'll drill down later on what type of accidents are the top three. But let's look at the number of accidents. I put, even though we haven't gone through the whole year, 2026 data is the last bar, the really small one. And I went, wow. There was an inflection point. The blue line, the dark blue, is a 10-year average. There was an inflection point in 2025. The low number of 2020 is probably due to the pandemic reduced flying activity. But the data I loaded was up to the first week of May. Let's call it 1/4, 25% of the year. If I wanted to be predictive in a very simple way, I would say, extrapolating that, I multiply it by 4, and it's going to be less than it was in 2025. So I think, I'm crossing my fingers. Let's see what we find out next year. I'll be back, and we'll have the same picture and an update on how is it moving. But this is on par now with other regions of the world. It didn't used to be. Number of fatalities, we had 2 really good years with single digits. And again, there are 14 in 1/4 of 2026. That's something to pay attention to, because 14 times 4 is 56, which is going to be more than last year. So if we have consensus on focusing on fatal accidents, which is an ICAO suggestion anyway, we should be able to keep that bar small for this year. And this is a chart where I answer the unknown thing and who are the leading fatal accidents in the region for the last 10 years. Top 3, loss of control, CFIT, and runway excursions. Every region in the world has the same top 3. The one, maybe in different order, maybe runway excursion first and CFIT, but these top 3 are the top 3 worldwide. The one that's different in Africa is that unknown. It has the highest number of fatal accidents, and it's unknown. Why? That's the reason. Green is good as far as accident reports published. Blue is bad. So we have accidents that happened 10 years ago, and only 20% of them were investigated. Accidents, best year had about 50% of the accidents investigated. If we don't answer that question, we don't know what's the risk killing our passengers in our region. So, and I know there are some states in Africa that are very, very good at accident investigation, and some states need help. So maybe one idea that we float would be that the good states help others and find answers, at least classify the accident, so we know in which bucket it goes. You can access this dashboard at that link. It's available for everybody. If you have questions, you want a deeper drill down, let me know. I'm glad to be given the opportunity to work with you again, and it's a pleasure to be part of this meeting. So thank you, and I can take questions if you have any.
Thank you very much. Do we have any questions for Mr. Gausu and Mr. Huerto? Do you have any questions in terms of what has been presented on the state of affairs from the last summit? We're happy to take those. I see none. So we shall be definitely sharing those slides with everyone after the event, including the links to access the dashboard mentioned by Gerardo. And that brings us, ladies and gentlemen, to the end of our first part of the day, and coffee is served. You're invited for coffee, and we will be returning back to the conference room at exactly 11 a.m. for the next session of the discussions. Thank you very much for your attention and participation, and enjoy your coffee break.